Hey everybody, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Yes, I have feathers. I don't care what they look like. I'm hanging in. Special treat for everybody today. I'm going to start the Gray Alien Agenda. It's going to be long. It's going to be a lot of info, but it's going to be so good. Yay! So excited. So excited to start this. Yeah, my hair grows out. This is natural. This is natural. But it's like blondish. I don't get it. Anyway. So when I started reading the Law of One, and I knew what was happening with our governments, plural, and with the agendas happening, it's not just a gray group that I'm going to focus on in this series. It's also the Dracos and the Reptilians, because they play a very similar role. They're like two and the same, pretty much. I'm going to break this series up so that I'm not bombarding everybody with so much information you don't know what you're going to do with. I'm going to do it in parts like I did the Anunnaki. And I don't think I'm done with the Anunnaki, by the way. Just saying. But I'm going to start off with some Law of One portions to go back. And I know I read some of this stuff. I'm going to keep it brief. But just to go back to who they were back then, how they infiltrated us. But more so, I'm going to show you a lot of pictures. I'm going to get you acquainted with the different species. So that's going to be tonight. And then we're going to go further along the line on agendas, on treaties, on where they are, what's going on today. I have like my whole list of like where to find things in books. I might screen share tonight. I might do it. We'll see if it works. And yes, you see the little fold there? Not sleeping so well. Haven't been feeling the hottest either. It went from like 74 degrees and today it's like in the 40s and it's going to snow tomorrow. Gotta love March. It's 38. My body does not handle this transitional stuff. I was supposed to take my car into the shop thanks to credit cards. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the cab to get back home. I'm hoping that I can get a friend that might be around to help me out with that situation, because gas is exorbitant right now. And my car is going to probably be in the shop for 1 or 2 days, depending on when they get the parts. And then I have to try to figure out how I'm going to pay the accountant to do my taxes. It gets complicated because of my situation. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Okay, let me find the spot. So before I start, especially with the Law of One, it's going to talk about the Orion group. The gray agenda, again, is mixed with different types of grays and different types of alien beings who align themselves up with the reptilians. And some of them are hybrids, all kinds of fun stuff. And I talk about aliens a lot, and it needs to be seriously needs to be tackled so that when I talk about it, you guys are well read. I'm starting with them because they're the ones, and these species that I'll mention tonight are the ones who've infiltrated us. Meaning that, yes, everything is according to divine plan, and most of them were here before us, and then other ones want to conquer universes and stuff. Like, that's a service to self. I'm going to talk about this big chunk in the Law of One, but I want people to know that not every race out of the Orion group is evil. A lot of them are actually benevolent and amazing beings. It's just like Earth living here. You have amazing souls across the planet, beautiful, amazing cultural people from everywhere. And then you have your assholes. Then you have your people who eat and cannibalize humans. There's a lot. So I want you all to be aware that not all gray species are evil. There are a lot of benevolent. There are a lot of negative, and that goes for everything. There's always a balance. There's always duality. So I don't want people who might be starseeds or look up at Orion and see the alignment to say, oh, well, isn't that evil? Well, not everything is evil and not everything is benevolent. There's a mixture. So the reason why I'm starting off with the Law of One is it goes into them as the group. The Nebu and the Sikar, which is the Reptilians and the Greys. Questioner, you said that Orion was the source of some of these contacts with UFOs. Can you tell me something of that contact, its purpose? Ra, consider, if you will, a simple example of intentions which are bad/good. This example is Adolf. This is your vibratory sound complex. The intention is to presumably unify by choosing the distortion complex called elite cabal from a social memory complex and then enslaving by various effects those who are seen by the distortion as not elite. There is then the concept of taking the social memory complex, thus weeded, and adding it to a distortion through thought of by the so-called Orion group as an empire. The problem facing them is that they face a great deal of random energy release by the concept of separation. This causes them to be vulnerable, as the distortions amongst their own members are not harmonized. Many of these groups also are on a hive mind, which we'll dive in a little deeper later. But that means like there's one entity or AI that controls all of them. Questioner, what is the density of the Orion group? Ra, like the Confederation, the densities of the mass consciousness which conspire that group are varied. There are very few third density, a large number of fourth density, a similarly large number of fifth density and very few sixth density entities comprising this organization. Their numbers are perhaps 1/10 hours at any point in the space/time continuum. As the problem of spiritual entropy causes them to experience constant disintegration of their social memory complexes. Their power is the same as ours. The law of one blinks neither at the light nor the darkness, but is available for service to others and service to self. However, service to others results in service to self, thus preserving and further harmonizing the distortions of those entities, seeking intelligent infinity through their disciplines. Those seeking intelligent infinity through the use of service to self create the same amount of power, but as we said, have constant difficulty because of the concept of separation, which is implicit in the manifestations of the service to self, which involve power over others. This weakens and eventually disintegrates the energy collected by such mind, body, spirit complexes who call the Orion group, and social memory complexes which comprise the Orion group. It should be noted, carefully pondered, and accepted that the law of one is available to any social memory complex which has decided to strive together for any seeking a purpose, be it service to others or service to self. The laws, which are the primal distortions of law of one, then are placed into operation, and the illusion of space-time is used as a medium for the development of results of those choices freely made. Thus, all entities learn, no matter what they seek, all learn the same, some rapidly, some slowly. Questioner, using as an example the fifth density concerning the social memory complex of the Orion group, what was their previous density before they became fifth density? Ra, the progress through densities is sequential. The fifth density social memory complex would comprise of mind, body, spirit complexes harvested for fourth density. Then the conglomerate or mass mind, body, spirit complex does its melding, and results are due to the infinitely various possibilities of combinations of distortions. Questioner, I'm trying to understand how a group such as the Orion group would progress. How it would be possible if you were in the Orion group pointed towards service, self-service, to progress from our third density to fourth. What learning would be necessary for that? Ra, you will recall that we went into some detail about how those orientated towards seeking service for others, yet nevertheless found and could use the gateway to intelligent infinity. This is true of all densities. In our octave, we cannot speak for those above us, as you would say, in the next quantum or octave of beingness. This is, however, true of this octave of density. The beings are harvested because they can see and enjoy the love light of the appropriate density. Those who have found the love love, without benefit of desire for service to others, nevertheless, by the law of free will, have the right to use of that light love for whatever purpose. Also, it might be inserted that there are systems of study which enable the seeker of separation to gain these gateways. The study is difficult as the one which we have described to you, but there are those with the perseverance to pursue the study just as you desire to pursue the difficult path of seeking to know in order to serve. The distortion lies in the effect that those who seek to serve the self are seen by the law of one as precisely the same as those who seek to serve others. For all are not one, To serve yourself and to serve others is a dual method of saying the same thing, if you can understand the essence of the law of one. Questioner, you said that some of the landings at the time were of the Orion group. Why did the Orion group land here? What is their purpose? Ra. Their purpose is conquest. Unlike those of the Confederation who wait for the calling, the so-called Orion group calls itself to conquest. As we have said previously, their objective is to locate certain mind-body-spirit complexes which vibrate in resonance with their own vibrational complex, then to enslave the unelite, as you may call those who are not of the Orion vibration. Basically all of us. Had to change. I'm in a lot of pain. Got tired. And I have a heating pad on my lower back because it's screaming. And that makes me hot. Not in a beauty kind of sense. Anyway, let's get back into it. So the Law of One calls the Orion group the Crusaders. And they're also mixed with the Reptilians and the Dracos, which, again, I'll get into them. I'll start off later if I can share my screen with personal pictures. Questioner, what do the Crusaders do? Ra, the Crusaders move in their chariots to conquer planetary mind-body-spirit social complexes before they reach the stage of achieving social memory. Yep. We were robbed, but we're going to get back to that. Questioner, then we have Crusaders from Orion coming to this planet for mind control purposes. How did they do this? Ra, as all, they follow the Law of One by observing free will. Contract is made with those who call. Those then upon the planetary sphere act much as do you to disseminate the attitudes and philosophy of their particular understanding of the Law of One, which is service to self. These become the elite. Through these attempted beginnings, to create a condition whereby the remainder of the planetary entities are enslaved by their free will. And later on in this series, we're going to go into the Majestic 12, and we're going to go into, without reading it, what Elena and Danaan wrote about Valiant Thor and what his messages and everything were, because we got duped. And our elite worked with them. Are they with them now? No, because they got flushed out. But these little service to self elites worked with these species, different species, by the way, and different countries have different species that they like to go to. And again, a lot of intervention was being tried by the benevolent beings to come down and to say, you effing nuts, you got to stop this now. No. And these elite people were like, we're getting technology with exchange of humans for abductions and other things of that nature. So no, we're not going to stop our nonsense. Although all of us never agreed for any of that to happen. Although it is privy to say that some people made arrangements pre-incarnation to be abducted. I don't know, but I don't find it kosher. And that's how our free will was impeded upon, because we didn't ask or invite these beings as a social memory complex to be enslaved. And not the debt slavery. What's unfolding now? That's how. Questioner, can you name any names that may be known on the planet that are recipients of the Crusaders' efforts? Ra, I am desirous of being in non-violation of free will distortion. To name those in the future of your space-time is infringed. Thus, we withhold this information. We request you contemplate of the fruits of the actions of those entities, whom you may observe enjoying the distortion towards power. In this way, you may discern for yourself this information. We shall not interfere with the, shall we say, planetary game. It is not central to the harvest. Questioner, how do the Crusaders pass on their concepts to the individuals on Earth? I have a guest. Here she comes. Hi. Can you say hi to everybody before you put your butt in their face? Saving you, cat butt. Are raw. There are two main ways, just as there are two main ways of, shall we say, polarizing towards service to others. There are those mind, body, spirit complexes upon your planet, upon your plane, who do exercises and perform disciplines in order to seek contact with sources of information and power, leading to the opening of the gate to intelligent infinity. There are others whose vibratory complexes is such that this gateway is opened, and contact with total service to self, with its primal distortion of manipulation of others, is then afforded with little or no difficulty, no training, and no control. Questioner, what type of information is passed on from the Crusaders to these people? Ra, the Orion group passes on information concerning the law of one with the orientation of service to self. The information can become technical, just as some in the Confederation, in attempts to aid this planet in service to others, have provided what you call technical information. The technology provided by this group is in the form of various means of control or manipulation of others to serve the self. Project MK Ultra, Project Monarch, Project Delta, MK Delta. So all the technology I talk about all the time, that they brainwash you and the propaganda machine and all of that stuff. Well, those little friendly little gray guys, they're a part of that. They are a part of that. This is an important part of this whole series, to understanding this group from a metaphysical law of one standpoint. And I know I read a couple of these things in other episodes, but very important. Questioner, in the last session, you mentioned that Orion Crusaders came here in chariots. Could you describe the chariots? Ra, the term chariot is a term used in warfare among your peoples. That is its significance. The shape of the Orion craft is one of the following. Firstly, the elongated ovoid shape, which is of a darker nature than silver, but which has a metallic appearance if seen in the light. In the absence of light, it appears to be red or fiery in some manner. Other craft include the disc-shaped objects of a small nature, approximately 12 feet in your measurement in diameter, the box-like shape, approximately 40 feet to a side in your measurement. Other craft can take on a desired shape through the use of thought control mechanisms. There are various civilization complexes which work with this group. Some are more able to use intelligent infinity than others. The information is very seldom shared. Therefore, the chariots vary greatly in shape and appearance. Questioner, is there any effect on the part of the Confederation to stop the Orion chariots from arriving here? Ra, every effort is made to quarantine this planet. However, the network of guardians, much like any other pattern of patrols on whatever level, does not hinder each and every entity from penetrating quarantine. For if a request is made in love light, the law of one will be met with acquiescence. If the request is not made due to the slipping through the net, then there is penetration of this net. And then the questioner is like, well, then what the hell's going on here? Orion chariots from coming through the quarantine. Ra, there is contact at the level of light form or light body being, depending upon the vibratory level of the guardian. These guardians sweep reaches of your Earth's energy fields to be aware of any entities approaching. An entity which is approaching is hailed in the name of the one creator. Any entity thus hailed is bathed in love light and will of free, will obey the quarantine due to the power of the law of one. Questioner, what happened to the entity if he did not obey the quarantine after being hailed? Ra, to not obey quarantine after being held on the level of which we speak would be equivalent to you not stopping upon walking into a solid brick wall. Questioner, what would happen to the entity if he did this? What would happen to his chariot? Ra, the creator is one being. The vibratory level of those able to breach the quarantine boundaries is such that upon seeing the love light net, it is impossible to break this law. Therefore, nothing happens. No attempt is made. There is no confrontation. The only beings who are able to penetrate the quarantine are those who discover windows or distortions in space-time continua surrounding your planet's energy fields. Through these windows they come. These windows are rare and unpredictable. portals, stargates. Questioner, are most of the UFOs which are seen in our skies from the Orion group? Ra, many of those seen in your skies are of the Orion group. They send out messages. Some are received by those who are orientated towards service to others. These messages then are altered to be acceptable to those entities while warning of difficulties ahead. This is the most that self-serving entities can do when faced with those who wish to serve others. The contacts, which the group finds most helpful to their cause, are those contracts made with entities whose orientation is towards service to self. There are many thought form entities in your skies, which are of positive nature and are projections of the Confederation. Questioner, you mentioned that the Orion Crusaders, when they get through the net, give both technical and non-technical information. I think I know what you mean by technical information, but what type of non-technical information do they give? And am I right in assuming that this is done by telepathic contact? Rod, this is correct. Through telepathy, the philosophy of the law of one with distortion of service to self is promulgated. In advanced groups, there are rituals and exercises given, and these have been written down just as service to others orientated entities have written down the promulgated philosophy of their teachers. The philosophy concerns the service of manipulating others, that they may experience service towards the other self. Thus, through this experience, becoming able to appreciate service to self. These entities would become orientated towards service to self and in turn manipulate yet others so that they in turn might experience the service towards the other self. And they talk about black magic. Questioner, would this be the origin of what we call black magic? Fun times. Ra, this is correct in one sense, incorrect in another. The Orion group has aided this so-called negatively orientated among your mind, body, spirit complexes. These same entities would be concerning themselves with the service to self in any case, and there are many upon your so-called inner planes which are negatively orientated and thus available as inner teachers or guides and so-called possessors of certain souls who seek this distortion to service to self. Yep. Before I move on, I am going to touch upon the MIB discussion because it's in other articles I want to read today. Questioner, are there any Confederation or Orion entities living upon Earth and operating visibly among us in society at this time? Ra, there are no entities of either group walking among you at this time. However, the Crusaders of Orion use two types of entities to do their bidding, shall we say. The first type is the thought form, the second, a kind of robot. Questioner, would you describe this robot? The robot may look like any other being. It is a construct. Questioner, is the robot what is normally called the Men in Black? This is incorrect. Questioner, who is the Men in Black? Ra, the Men in Black are thought form type of entity, which have some beingness to their makeup. They have certain physical characteristics given to them. However, their true vibrational nature is without their density vibrational characteristics, and therefore they are able to materialize and dematerialize when necessary. Question: are all these men in black then used by the Orion Crusaders? Ra, this is correct. There's more. This is that book 1. Next component of not just reading the Law of One the entire time is showing you funsies of all these species. I'm going to focus on the grays today. Buckle up. Because we just left off on the Men in Black, I'm going to do the Men in Black in there. Men in Black. Universal origin. We don't know where the Men in Black came from. They could be aliens, clones, synthetic humans, or MyLabs. A blend of the words military and abductions. This term refers to dark covert military seizures of human citizens to control and train as operatives in secret space programs. The consensus is that MIB are inhuman. They are feared, mysterious, and protect UFO secrets. Physical characteristics. MIB are male with a height of about 6 feet. MIB have flawless skin tones, some light, others tanner, which suggests a synthetic or clone human. Some say their skin tone is pasty white like a cadaver. Their short, thick black hair is slicked back. Their eyes are either black or blue and appear Caucasian or Japanese in shape. Some say the shapes of their eyes are big and oval. They are void of emotion and speak like simpletons. When walking together in a group, they step in unison like a military procession. They wear black suits and ties with a white press shirt, and most wear a black fedora hat. Dark sunglasses conceal their strange eyes. Belief system. They seem to be unable to think for themselves, aka hive mind, aka controlled. Cosmic agenda, MIB, used intimidation and fear to silence UFO abductees and witnesses from telling their story to the media. Their purpose is to shut down those getting too close to the truth about UFOs and their occupants. The lives of their loved ones are also threatened. The Men in Black may appear of a covert government agency that's deployed when national security is compromised, for instance. If a witness spots one of our own secret advanced craft in the skies, or an otherworldly race's craft, or extraterrestrial contact, some MIB theorists believe that the MIB came from the 4602D Air Intelligence Service Squadron, a top secret unit whose duties were to locate, recover, and deliver down space vehicles. It is also theorized that they joined forces with Project Blue Book and wrote flying saucer UFO reports. It would have been in their best interest to silence witnesses about what they saw. An early MIB case was that of 32-year-old Albert K. Bender. Yep. His story is detailed in the book Flying Saucers and the Three Men, co-written with Gray Barker. Some say the men in black are created and controlled by the Draconians to silence witnesses and keep the world in the dark about who the malevolent Draconians are. Or are the military Draconians and Greys working together and they want their secret kept hidden from the public? Another theory is that the MIB started out as alien men or clones, and then the shadow government stole the idea and continued harassing UFO witnesses with their own mirror version of MIB. Or did the government and aliens join forces when they began working together in underground bases on Earth? Dumbs. Others believe the Illuminati created and controlled the MIB. In this scenario, the MIB could be incarnated malevolent Orions, created clones, or negative Orion aliens. Maybe all three. Some men in black have disappeared before witnesses' eyes. If they are clones, their controllers would have advanced technology and thus would be able to instantly teleport and walk through walls. Consciousness abilities. It is said that the men in black have telepathic abilities, and if they're synthetic clones or MyLabs, they may be linked to their controllers. If this is the case, the controllers might see through the window of the eyes and voice activate MIB with their own speech through the telepathic link. Men in black are also said to possess the power of mind tricks and screen memories. Dimensional capacity. Paranormal theorists say men in black possess paranormal auras that are fluorescent green or black. Shit's real. Real. Hang on, guys. I want to see that right there? Clones. Here's a secret. A little. Half of all the people that you see on television that are politicians, that are entertainers, artists, rappers, sports figures, they're clones. Tom McDonald, he does a whole song on it. Clones are biologically created. Physical characteristics. Clones could be human or alien. They're grown in artificial embryo sacs and void of a soul. Souls are born of the creation with divine love and intent. Belief system. Clones have no belief system. They are constituted conscious units. Cosmic agenda. Clones are extension of their programmers and can be used for good or evil purposes. If clones are heavily implanted and joined with a group mind, either artificial or advanced alien, they become robotoids. The Dark Orion Draconian Empire creates, uses, and sells robotoids to protect themselves. Orion's Draconians are robotoids to do their dirty work. One type of clone exists to throw starseeds off their missions, interfering with alignment and ascension messages, preventing them from achieving spiritual elevation and distorting the true benevolent cosmic reality. These clones are artificial intelligent consciousness to impersonate a voice of truth but their messages are designed to create fear through false love. But as the starseed increases their spiritual substance, they are able to recognize the false voice and uproot it from their consciousness and devour and detour it from future transmissions. The first phase is recognition. A second phase is mentally removing it from the mind through meditation by consciously creating a metallic sphere, a powerful magnet, and then turning on the magnet above the head, allowing it to pull all those negative and untrustworthy thought forms up into the sphere. Once the mind is cleansed, add pink for love, purple for spirituality, gold and silver for Mother, Father, God around the sphere. Let the sphere rise into the sky and dissipate, allowing the colors and their meanings to transform the sphere and its contents. The third phase is to create protection around the energy field by mentally focusing the same colors around yourself and saying all that is not of enlightened universal God consciousness, for God, Christ, Buddha, etc., cannot penetrate this shield. Soul replacement, cloning, is the dark art of practically stripping energies from the person's aura and replacing it with black energy to influence the person in negative ways. Technology, some clones have animal souls, a spirit capture technology taught in earth sciences by aliens. Clones can be also controlled via implants in the physical brain or via holographic consciousness inserts. Some clones are created through cattle DNA mixed with human DNA to create a near human being. Consciousness is then withdrawn from a human and transferred to the clone through computer stimulate memories. The near humans are then bred with real humans to create type 2 almost humans. Consciousness abilities. A clone's consciousness ability is limited. A soul matrix is only privy to those born of men and women or to created beings. Clones have to be taught how to be human and interact with society. They are awkward and clumsy until they reach maturity. They cannot obtain a high IQ and are easily manipulated by their creators. Dimensional capacity. Clones only exist in the third dimension. Well, Super Soldier Talk goes in a lot about this, but they have like soul scalping, or they fractalize somebody's soul and then they implant parts of that person that they fractalized into a clone by trauma. Project Monarch, Project Montauk. Freaky. Synthetics. Universal origin. Synthetics are biological synthetic creatures, AI with an evil twist. If coming in contact with a synthetic, you would sense it is inhuman, but that is unlikely as they rarely mingle with humanity. Physical characteristics. Synthetic creatures are designed to look human or alien. They're grown in artificial embryo sacs and void of souls. Souls are born of the creation without the building blocks of divine intent. A soul may not be born into a synthetic. The designers of this technology found a way to detach discarnate dark entities under their control into the spirit matrix, or to have multiple evils hosting them. From the time they were born, synthetics are bred with the bidding of their programmers. Their auras are extremely dark. Belief system. Synthetics have no belief system per se. They only wish to carry out orders of their creators. Cosmic agenda. The synthetics are an extension of their dark programmers, used to do their dirty work, including keeping them safe from harm. They usually are in eternal psychic war agents sitting in a room and directing dark evil thoughts to a person or group. If directed to an area of land they want to control, they are aware of good people will sense the dark vibes and stay away. Their programmers know the power of prayer, so they do the opposite to achieve the opposite result. Synthetic beings could be anything the diabolical mind can conceive. Synthetics are biological entity tech with sinister intentions. Conscious ability. Synthetics are constituted consciousness units. They have speech, but not telepathy. Dimensional capacity. Synthetics are third density, although their programmers can project them into dark astral realm or into dream states to promote fear in the programmer's enemy. A lot of starseeds, light workers, and other people have had attacks. We can call them archons, who I believe are the souls that they are implanted in synthetics. Just my theory. My theory. I had to wear Faraday cloth all summer over my head because in some of my videos, I've said I've been having psychic attacks, and I block myself, shield myself, put mirrors up, and all kinds of hoo-ha, like woo-woo stuff. And it breaches anyway. And then I get really, really, really stressed out, and then the depression hits, and then I'm like a freaking ball of hell. I mean, yes, my situation still sucks. I don't know what's going on. No income, food shortages, gas prices going high. It's getting bleak. I'm trying not to be in that space, but it's bad. Really bad. But that's them, or was them, because a lot of them got kicked in the butt. Next is I'm going to find the gray agenda, or the grays. EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities. What crashed? Area 51. Universal origin, extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, are believed to have been created in the Orion constellation, one of the brightest and best known constellations, and or Zeta Reticuli 2, located in the Reticulum constellation, a small faint constellation in the southern sky. It is thought that Zeta races, biological materials, were being harvested by the draconian reptiles without consent, possibly through abduction and induced amnesia, and caused and used to create EBEs. This is said to have taken place well over 1 million years ago. A great war broke out between the races. Although they worked out their differences over time, the EBE slave race is widespread across the universe. Physical characteristics. EBEs are engineered humanoid automatons whose thin frame stands 3 to 4 feet, 4.5 feet tall. EBE's skin tones are milky white to gray. Their slanted eyes are hauntingly large, and they wear dark lenses over them for protection against the elements. With plain facial features, their noses, ears, and mouths are diminutive. These creatures have no genitals, are androgynous, and look like children. They are chlorophyll-based beings. EBEs have limited consciousness, but are able to function normally and perform tasks programmed by their creators. Cosmic agenda, EBEs are usually sent on scientific expeditions and craft, so their technology supervisors remain safe on their home world or in their mothership station somewhere in the solar system. EBEs collects human DNA during abductions on the orders of their creators. They also place alien implants into generations of human families for study. If captured and interrogated on another world, EBEs may even be linked to their programmers, who speak through the unit with the capturers none the wiser. So the alien supervisors learn more about the people there. EBEs are an extension of their programmers. EBE scout ships launch from their programmers' motherships. EBEs have telepathic and telekinetic abilities to unite their minds to the craft when navigating flight. Due to the electromagnetic energy enhancements programmed into their auras, EBEs can tune their frequency to become visible and walk through walls. Yep. I'll show you the pictures first. The gray races. Universal origin. Grays are a renegade group originally from Zeta Reticuli 2, Reticulum constellation, that left their worlds many thousands of years ago. Some of them were captured and genetically altered to groups in the tyrannical Orion Empire. Short grays' average height is 4 to 5 feet. Their heads are oversized and they have thin frames, lean arms and legs, and gray skin tone. Their large, dark, bulbous eyes are sinister looking and wrap around their heads. Tall grays are 6 to 8.5 feet, have bulbous, elongated heads, thin frames, long arms and legs, and a range of skin tones from pale white to gray. Their gigantic, dark insect eyes protrude, and beneath the permanent nictitating membrane lenses are huge, human-like eyes. Taller grays have long, elongated heads and small, pure black eyes. They are more menacing than their counterparts and stand 9 to 12 feet. Their body frames are more human, and the men are muscular naturally. They have darker gray skin tones, and their facial skin is crinkled like crepe paper. The gray races believe in the complete service to self at any cost, to other species' free will to satisfy their needs. The short grays lost their spiritual nature over time from inbreeding, cloning, and their pursuit of technology, and they are no longer connected to spirit. They are desperately trying to regain that union realizing a bit late in the game that if they don't mend their transgressions, they are doomed for extinction. They are aligned to the malevolent reptilians, Orion group, and the tall and taller grays. Short grays are responsible for the alien abductions against humanity to upgrade their race. Biologically covered metallic-like implants are inserted into abductees' bodies, those under their bioengineering program to monitor and track them. Through telepathic hypnosis, they program their abductees to believe that they were and are chosen and special. Against the will of humans, the Greys use our gene pool to save their race that is on the precipice of extinction. They kidnap humans and use mind control to keep them sedated, extract sperm and ova, use female wombs mixed with their genetics as incubators, remove the fetus between 2 and 3 months, continue to grow in their labs, and then repeat the process. They have no remorse for their actions or empathy for their victims. These 3 gray races are diabolical and aggressive creatures. You can keep them away from your vibration by raising your own through spiritual practice, meditation, connection to source, and shielding your multidimensional bodies with the self-imagined shield of Archangel Michael. They will leave our planet once the spiritual vibration has raised to an octave that their energy cannot survive. They cannot live where there is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, which we've achieved. Oh, we've achieved it. Thank you all, fourth density beings of love, light, and compassion. Which is true. And Elena Danaan stresses this shit out of this. If you are confronted with one, tell it to fuck off, literally. Send it love and light. And say, I do not consent. Fuck off. Works. Technology. The gray races. Technical sophistication and genetic engineering is superior. Their overall technological advances are over 2,000 years old, ahead of ours. The gray races are hyperspace travel in metallic discuses that are equipped with sophisticated genetic laboratories. Other ships are shaped like a beehive. The gray races have both hive and individual minds. Through powerful mind telepathy, they can control and paralyze humans. They place screen memories in their minds of those they have abducted so they do not remember the horrific ordeals they have had endured on their medical tables. They are masters of deceit and lies. They possess the power of levitation and can glide across the air. Dimensional capacity due to the electromagnetic energy enhancements programmed into their auras, the grays, like EBEs, are able to tune their frequency to become invisible and walk through walls. Evil shits. Evil shits. Evil, evil, evil. Orion being. Never heard of these, actually. Never heard of him. Orons. Orons are thought to be from the Orion constellation. Orons are between 6 and 7 feet. They are predominantly female and female run. Their pigmentation is dark with rounder heads than the grays, with long, extra jointed limbs and slender fingers. They may be hybridization of other insectoid beings, reptiles, and grays. Their large eyes are bulbous, similar to the grays. They have nictitating lenses that are used like a pair of sunglasses. Their eyes glow an orange-red color when using night vision or seeing into other realities interdimensionally. Orons believe only in service to self. Like many negative races that abduct humans for genetic experiments against their will, Orons make humans feel special to blend them to their will. Human DNA mixed with alien DNA gives Orons an upgrade, as we are considered DNA royalty with the ascension capabilities these races lost in their degenerative life force. Another purpose for creating a hybrid race is that when they are a part of us, literally, they can study themselves as us, more in depth, which helps them to rebuild their own society. The irony here is that the Orons, through human hybridization, might just become an enlightened race, something they probably did not consider when first making their DNA with ours. Orion's technical sophistication in genetic engineering is superior. Their overall technological advances are over 2,000 years ahead of ours. They use implants in humans to monitor those under their bioengineering program. Orons travel in metallic discs with genetic laboratories on board. Orons state in their abductees' eyes and mind scanned them using telepathic hypnosis, gaining access into their subconscious mind to discover their fears and use them against their target. Here they are able to control and paralyze the abductees' bodies while they perform their medical tests and exact genetic materials. They possess the power of levitation and glide across the air. Due to electromagnetic energy enhancements programmed into their auras, the Orons, like EBEs and Greys, are able to tune their frequency to become invisible and walk through walls. Now the funny picture. Zeta Reticulans come from Zeta Reticuli in the Reticulum constellation, a variation of many species in Reticulum. Zeta Reticulans have slight bodies, about 4 feet tall. They have round heads and 3 long fingers with an extra joint and thumbs on each hand. Their eyes are quite large and oval shaped with huge round irises and pupils, colored blue, green, brown, steel, or blue or violet. They have nictitating lenses to protect their sensitive eyes. When they converse telepathically, their eyes slant upward, each movement and emotional expression of what they are conveying. Although they appear of indeterminate sex, they are able to procreate as males or females categorized by hermaphrodite. Zeta Reticulans believe in cosmic law of one. They believe all beings are united with one spirit. Some souls are awake and serve the universe, while other souls still sleep, slaves to the ego in service to self. Zeta Reticulans are members of the galactic alignment. They have the tech to rewire neural patterns to increase their brain functions in their contactees. After rewiring their human visitor interface with a screen while wearing neural helmets, this merges their consciousness with the machine. Each invited guest, depending on their abilities, is shown various needs of Earth, and they, if so chose, are shown how they can be part of the positive change. The interface also teaches the visitor their overall program for raising consciousness to repair the damage done to the planet. Oh, so these are good guys. They're good grays. There is always a sense of urgency attached to missions that our contactees have been assigned or taken on their own accord. The Zeta Reticulans have interactive crystal cities that levitate high above the ground on their home world and onboard mother ships. When inside the city, these power stations encoded with living light assist in extrasensory mind perceptions to access astral realm higher learning. It's similar to returning to spirit while inside the structures and drawing an inspiration from their sphere of knowledge and wisdom. Zeta Reticulans fully conscious and sovereign beings. A neuron device strengthens telepathic communication between them and others. Their contactees on Earth are linked to invisible astral headgear that allows the Zeta Reticulans to telepathically communicate with their contactee group as a whole. This is also preparation for when we become a telepathic race. Zeta Reticulans are masters of mind over matter. They can levitate, glide through the air, and control speed with their thoughts. Zeta Reticulans have multi-realm commanderships. These realm dwellers are also far advanced that they can travel into other dimensions through soul projection or via interdimensional craft. I'm not happy with that picture. It's not a good one. Zeta Reticuli. Zeta Reticuli come from Zeta Reticuli in the Reticulum constellation. The leader and examiner of the Zeta Reticuli, approximately 4.5 to 5 feet tall. Their heads are larger than their bodies. They have large gecko-like eyes with a vertical slit. Their foreheads are broad, tapering down to a small jawbone. These beings lack body hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, and external ear flaps. Their skin is bumpy and blue-gray and aluminum in color. A membrane covers their toothless mouths, and when they communicate among themselves, it flutters in a sing-song drone. Their narrow palms are cool to the touch and support 3 slender fingers, 1 short finger and thumb. Smaller Reticulum crew members are approximately 3.5 feet. Their head is shaped like a round melon within a large cranial structure. Their large eyes extend to the sides of their faces. Their iris is either dark or pupil extremely large, with barely any white of their eyes showing. They have stubby fingers and thumb with no fingernails. We don't know anything about the Zeta Reticuli's belief system. Zeta Reticuli are curious to discover how we are like them or different than them physically. They seem to do no harm to those they abduct, wanting only to examine their eyes, nose, and throat, bone structure, feet, and hands. They check the nervous system with points on wires. In the famous abduction of Betty and Barney Hill, they did some stuff to them. Zeta Reticuli have discus craft 60 to 80 feet in diameter. flattened on the bottom and elevated on top, showcasing a curved reticular hat shape. It has 2 rows of 5 windows that radiate an intense blue-white light. Craft have exam rooms. When flight, it glows a fiery orange-red. Some Zeta are more telepathic than others. It's unclear if Zeta reticuli induce telepathy naturally or through a neural translator. They are able to put humans to sleep by holding up their hand to mentally induce slumber. They are able to erase memories of abduction. Zeta reticuli are most likely multidimensional. Okay, this is a freaky photo. Okay, we'll get back to this book. Because when I go into the reptilians, there are Zeta Drakes. But we'll save them for another time. Because there's a lot more reptiloid mixed with the Zetas. It's a really good book. I'm going to link all the information down below. Urge you to get it if you're into that kind of stuff. Elena Danaan's fun, amazing drawings. So with Elena's book, because there's a lot of juicy good stuff in here, I urge you all to buy it. I don't necessarily want to put it out as to you need permission, and she's a very busy lady right now. But I'm just going to go over the races that are evil, and then there's another book I'm going to see if I could screen share with pictures and stuff that I can show you. But there's the Maytre. They're the evilest shits out there. The worst race out of them all. The Tikut. They're evil shits. Evil, evil. Marzek, they're blue glass crossbreeds. We have the Solipsi Ra. The Solipsi Ra is not necessarily, there's a faction that went bad, but the majority of them are really good. So, and those are the ones that deal with the bad ones, the baddie ones deal with Earth. The baddie ones. She also goes into the MIB, or Draco Borg, she calls them, which is very interesting. From the Gemini, the Polacks, and Anna. They have like cube-shaped ships. They're evil shits. There's a lot of good juicy stuff in here. The Induguk, they're extremely violent. They're from Bellatrix. They smell like burnt sulfur. They're really bad. The Iban. They're really bad. The Alcobata for Perseus. So there's a lot of species that are not from Zeta Reticuli per se. There's a from Zeta Reticuli, the Dohu or the Dow. They're evil. The Shambaha Holly. They've worked with the our governments, those little evil people that we have running our government. The Killy Tokert from Vela. They're just as evil and horrible. Those are Area 51 S2 Dulce. They work there. And I don't even know how to pronounce these little shits. Muvathian K. Blacksack. Yeah. A lot of species. Please buy her book. There's a lot of races in here. And she only wrote about the ones that deal with Earth affairs. But she has a disclaimer at the beginning of her book to get permission before you even show any of her work. So I don't want to disrespect her. I love her to death. I really do. I respect her. So I'm going to abide by those wishes. But that doesn't mean we're done. Hang on. Hey guys, we're going to try this out. Okay. The Killy Tokerd. They come from the constellation Vera near the star Suhal al-Mohif. They grow up to 2 meters high. They live up to 200 years. They can shapeshift and are very hard to detect. When they shapeshift, the only thing they cannot change is the size and color of their eyes. Do you see this picture? Pretty. They're one of the oldest known races. They do abduct humans. Last seen on Earth in July 2008. Oh my goodness. That's bananas. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find other gray species. Give me a second. Okay, we have the Mars Mesarek. They come from the constellation Camelopardalis. from the 1300s to the early 1900s, our calendar, they were not allowed to leave their planet by other alien races. They are very violent and predatory race. They are known to be allies of the race Maytre. Look at that. No good. Pretty freaky. Pretty freaky. Okay, I'm going to share the screen again. Hopefully this is recording and you can see it. The shining ones, because I'm not trying to pronounce that. I'm not doing it. They come from constellation Vulpecula. They have met with at least 2 US presidents, as well as the USSR, now Russia leaders, and some high-ranking officials. They supply limited amounts of their technology to humans in exchange for freedom to conduct abductions. They do not involve other alien races in this process. They have a big role in Siberian and Tibetan culture. They still have bases in those areas hidden in the north face of mountains. They have colonized over 40 planets outside of our solar system. That's creeptastic. I'm trying to find the oh, here we go. The Indigook. So, AKA tall white, look at that thing. That's creeptastic. This race has several bases on in the moon where they mine unknown material. Not no more. Bye-bye. Indigook. They use slaves to do most of their work. These slaves are extremely well taken care of, and the Indigook see them as indispensable. Their operations on the moon are very secretive. They're in almost permanent contact with high-ranking officials from the US, China, and Russia Fed governments. They have the ability to shapeshift into almost perfect human form. They're also known as the Men in Black, as they use special dark suits to protect their skin when in human shape while conducting special operations on Earth. Creepy. I'm trying to find if there's any other ones. Okay, here we go. Look at that thing. That's creepy. Gigantic, maintain sporadic contacts with three Earth governments, but not the most powerful ones, not USA, Russia, or China. Considered to have a violent nature by other races. They have been visiting Earth for 3,000 years. They come from constellation Hergolum and are known to have as allies the race Maytre. Last seen in Houston, USA, February 1st, 2003. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay, here's another one. Art. They come from the constellation Sextans. One of their ships crashed outside Brazil in 1996. Two of the occupants are under U.S. custody after having paid billions of dollars to the Brazilian government. Oh, where does our tax money go, my guys and my girls? They have the fastest ships of any known alien race. Yep. Oh, here we go. The Maytre. They're evil. Look at, just by looking at them, look at them. They have 2 home planets in constellation Megapi. They have the same average height as humans and are considered by many alien races as parasites. Visited Earth for the first time during the prehistoric period. Abductions of humans is carried out openly. They have the goal of colonizing Earth. That has not happened because of protection from other alien races, such as the Council of Five. They're hermaphrodites and their lifespan is 120 years. They have colonized at least 26 planets. They have abducted at least 5,000 humans. They say males. They have visited Earth at least 200 times. And they've been last seen in Nome, Alaska. Yeah, they're scary shits. Not gonna lie. Oh, here's another fun one. Rise. Their height. Look at that. The height is around 8 feet. They have very complex structure of their skull. Visited Earth about 20 times. They carry out human abductions, which they use for human reproduction. They have abducted at least 520 humans. They come from the 3rd star in the constellation Cetus. They have 2 home planets, have colonized at least 40 planets with the help of slaves. Their 2 home planets' chemical composition is similar to Earth, and they're supposed to reveal themselves to humans in an open manner in 2022. Oh boy, get ready, guys. This is coming to a show near us sometime soon. I mean, one can only imagine. Okay, here is the Solipsi Ra. Peaceful and harmonious race. For the most part, but there is a breakaway group of them that went to the baddies. Their civilization is 2 billion years old. Once they were at the same level of development as ours. They have no colonies. They are completely focused on development of other planets and races. They come from the constellation Cygnus. They are Solipsi Ra, but we call them grays. So that's what they look like. Creeptastic, I can tell you that. Here is another. X5 to cooked. The race was created by the race Maytre, the Maytre, in order to be used as slaves, and that is still what they are served for. They are often sent by the Maytre to security and sensitive regions, working as messengers and also to conduct abductions. They can live forever as they are not organic. However, the raw materials that the Maytre need to build one are very rare. So there's not many of them. They estimation less than 300. They are able to use rational thinking as well as fly ships and many other tasks. They were seen near Brisbane, Australia. Creepy. Creepy, creepy creepers. There's a lot of different species in this book. But a lot of that stuff I'm going to go over with the here we go. With the Draco and the reptilian races. That's why I am coming back and forth. Zeta Reticuli, the Shambhala, often confused because of their appearance with the races Maytre and Solipsi Ra, the Greys. They come from the constellation Nets. They are allies of the Anunnaki and cooperate with them in different planets. They are the representatives of the Anunnaki on Earth and sent them information about humans and this planet at least 25 times per year. The Anunnaki created a subspecies of the Zeta with the purpose of making them look more human-like, but leaving enough physical differences for humans to distinguish them. They became some of the pharaohs of Egypt. The most well-known was Akhenaten, who was removed from the power by reptilians. They infiltrated themselves in the court as temple priests. First reports of Zetas on Earth go back to 4000 AD, but that number is most likely much higher. They were the first hybrids to be engineered by the Anunnaki. The Zeta subspecies still exists on Earth and still at least 30% present the same physical differences created in them. The sexual organs of subspecies are in every aspect the same as humans. The Zetas still exist on Earth in both forms, the original and the hybrid subspecies. Their location on Earth is unknown. And there are some pictures. Yeah. Crazy banana nut stuff. I'm trying to see if there's any other pictures of like rays. Okay, one more. Matrix. Oops, sorry, Mama. Hi, Mama. Despite their appearance instills fear in humans when sighted, the race is not known to be aggressive. I actually, on Telegram, have seen one. Someone got an actual picture of one. They can live up to 400 years. They come from the constellation Delphinus near Sol Oken. They have been visiting Earth for at least 4,000 years, but were sighted quite often during the 19th century. They served as inspiration for the alien race in the movie Independence Day. Creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. All the pictures that they have in this, okay, hang on. A lot of the things in this book, because it's like a PDF download, is very blurry. So I do apologize. But here we go. Paka Mitpa. The Maytre have been involved in several tragedies throughout human history. These are some of their signs. Some of the worst plagues were inflicted by them with the knowledge and agreement of the Reptilians, who wanted the population to never go above 8 billion. Well, what agenda, what was happening here? What just happened to all of us in humanity? The Reptilians have abducted female humans for thousands of years. Most of their hybrid offspring are sent away to other planets that they have colonized. Some stay on Earth, where they become powerful members of infiltrated in society. There's a picture of Mars. Yep. Infiltration from within. Lots of infiltration. It's really sad, to say the least, though. Oh, here's something fun. So the CCC the TV in New York City. Look at that. Look at that. There's some drawings. I wonder why we're over there right now. Fun, right? So next, I'm going to share this, and this will be the last thing that I share for today. This is also from another like PDF book, Grey's Anatomy. You see that? Between 1968 and 1969, a plan was formulated to make the public aware of their existence over the succeeding 20 years. This time period would culminate with a series of documentaries that would explain the history and intentions of the Greys. The Greys assured us that the real purpose of the abductions was for monitoring our own civilization, and when we learned that the abductions were a lot more frequent and insidious than we were led to believe, the government became concerned. Their concern was also based on additional information regarding the purpose for the abductions. Insertion of a 3mm spherical biological monitoring device through the nasal cavity into the brain of the abductee. Implementing subliminal post-hypnotic suggestions that would compel the abductee to perform specific act at a time to be with the next 5 years. Genetic crossbreeding between Greys and human beings. Insertion of discoidal monitoring devices into the muscle tissue of the abductees. Presence of these have been verified by X-ray. By the time we have found out the truth about the intentions of the Greys, they intended to stay here and stay in control of our world. It was too late. We had already sold out humanity. Not that it would have made any difference, because they were here doing what they were doing anyway. Yeah, so here is the anatomy of what a Grey looks like. And this is from the Yellow Book, The History of the Aliens on Earth. I'll post all those links down below. But I wanted to take you on this first journey, an introduction into the species of Greys and different types of Greys and other aliens very similar to them. What the Law of One has to say about them. Got you some pictures and some commentary of them to show you there's a plethora of research and all of that fun. Yeah, so we're going to dive in the next episode more on what the Law of One has to say about these little crusader guys. We'll go into a bit more about the agendas, some of the projects, and other fun goodies about our Greys. Again, not all are bad, but a lot of them are under an agenda that are not of our highest good. And again, they're using language like the Law of One in our Extraterrestrial Species Almanac. I might also whip out 2 books that I had in the 4th grade that I, Bud Tompkins or Hopkins, Thompson, I can't see the books, that I read in the 4th grade about alien abductions. I'm going to go skim through those. Why am I doing this topic? Because we need to know what we were interfered with, what took place, how these things came into our being. I might see if I can tackle some Dr. Michael Sala's, I have some of his books as well, but I don't think like Elena Danaan, I don't want to show you her whole entire book because it's really good. So I urge you to read it and get it. But it's still very important. We all need to understand that these things are out there. They're very scary. They're not scary to the extent that there's so many different types. If you're not like studying this stuff or reading it constantly, you might get confused and not know which one is for your greatest good and which one is the one that's going to take you up. But you're in control of that because it tells you how to stop it. I find this stuff, and I've always found this stuff very immensely interesting. I've been reading about it since I was in the 4th grade. We all watched ET growing up. If you're in 80s and, 80s babies know about ET, the 70s babies, even early 90s, ET was like that movie. And then we had Independence Day, which has a lot of real shit in it. It's predictive programming. Star Wars. And some other third counters of the close counters of the third kind. There's so many like sci-fi stuff. X-Files. Oh, that is such disclosure. It truly is. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know I did. I hope my share screen worked. If you have it within you to help me, please help me as much as you possibly can. I thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's one way you can help me. Anything helps right at this moment in time where time is zipping by and it's becoming more increasingly difficult to like figure out what I'm going to do with myself. So I'm trying to put as much work as I can. If I lose the ability to have internet in April, at least still have a lot of videos to watch. Scary times right now in terms of unknown. My money and things are being held up. No one gives a shit about anybody else's well-being. Here in communistic Marxist New York. Scary times out there, guys. But I'm in it to win it, and I'm in it for all of you to get some knowledge. And if you already know about all this fun stuff and you have books that you can suggest that you can give me a PDF version of, please share that information. This is just series 1, so I just went over what they look like and some of the information. There's so many layering of things I'm going to do, but this is the start, so I hope you enjoyed it. Love and light to all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Until the next time, see you on the next one. Bye.